If you're looking for contemporary art in downtown Charleston, head over to the Miller Gallery on East Bay Street. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, sponsored by the Kabrowski Law Firm, I sit down one-on-one with the owner of Miller Gallery, Sarah Miller. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio.
Sarah Miller.
Good morning.
It's so good to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
Well, anytime. I say I see you again because obviously I saw you when I first came to your gallery back in May for the Creative Mornings Charleston talk that I did. And obviously, I didn't notice at the time, but you were celebrating your 1-year anniversary as the founder and owner of Miller Gallery on Lower East Bay. 1 year ago to right now, what is it like to be you, Sarah Miller?
A year ago I was, well, it's probably not that different, terrified, but still terrified because owning a new business is always scary. I think I had expectations as to where I would be a year, from then, and I think I've surpassed those expectations that I had set for myself. So, yeah, a lot has changed. Life is good, and I'm very, very fortunate for how things have played out with the gallery. It's been really well received, and we've had a lot of fun, so many wonderful events. But yeah, definitely a different place for sure.
And you talk about obviously being terrified and opening the gallery and welcoming a lot of people. Let me take you to the Charleston City paper. Mary Scott Hardaway wrote this on June 28, 2017, and the headline reads, Sarah Miller brings a fresh, contemporary gallery to East Bay. Small world, wide open. In the open, wooden floor, white wall Miller Gallery, decorated sparsely with mid-century modern furniture and fresh flowers. Everything has its place. There's the Tank Girl, an imposing 7-foot by 6-foot oil on canvas portrait by Joe Hay, a British American painter who in her series Benders depicts individuals identified as gender fluid. There's a wall devoted to art of a different kind, textiles by Sweet 33 and jewelry by Naked Eyes, both locally based companies. If you were to go inside your art gallery, how would you describe it right now to the average person?
Fresh, inviting, exciting, vibrant, and we kind of touch on a little bit of everything. We have figurative paintings in there, and then we also have a little bit of realism, a lot of abstract. I love texture, I love color, I love visual energy. I'm a very tactile person, so there's a little bit of everything for everyone, but it's curated in a way that it's not overwhelming. It's also not, I would say, people feel comfortable in there as soon as they walk in because we don't want them to be intimidated by art, and we put a lot of energy into making sure that people feel comfortable as they walk in the door.
And you told us, obviously, the city paper this quote, this is a dream come true. I wanted a place to call my own, to be surrounded by art. I believe art has an impact on people. So what is it like to be surrounded by art now?
Still as beautiful as it was, a year and a half ago when I opened up. Art, I think, feeds the soul. Okay. I think you can convey messages that sometimes it's hard to put into words. So when you're looking at pieces of art, you feel a little bit of what the artist was putting out there, but you're also able to interpret it yourself. And every day, I see something new in what I have hanging on the walls, even if it's been hanging on the wall for a month or more. So yeah.
What message are you conveying to art right now?
Well, I would say a lot of what the messages that we convey are the voice of the artists. Okay. So the artists that we represent are, it's a wide range of artists. We have 3 men and we have 10 women that we represent in the gallery. So there is like a little bit of a feminist twist on some of the art. Some of it is encouraging acceptance all across the board. There's a very positive message that we put out. I do think that sometimes really heavy subjects should be touched on, and we do oftentimes have pieces in the gallery, one individual piece that is a little bit heavier than the others, but I like that juxtaposition, and it gives way to conversations that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise unless somebody was able to dissect a piece, kind of, wash around in their mouth a little bit and say, oh, you know what, this makes me feel this way. Is that what the artist was trying to say? Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know. But conversational pieces we definitely like to exhibit.
And, you know, obviously I talked about your 1 year anniversary at Miller Gallery, and it really all began here at the College of Charleston.
Yes, I was so actually walking up these doors, I was like, you know, this is such a nice feeling to be back here. I want to go sit in one of those comfy chairs on the edge of the circle, and yeah, many hours spent here at College of Charleston.
Who was Sarah Miller as a student? I know you majored in, obviously, in arts.
Yes. I studied arts management.
Right.
I went into college thinking that I wanted to study communications. I like communication, as you know, you hear now after talking about all of the art. I like conversation, and I wanted to, you know, in a way, I wanted to either be a writer or I wanted to, you know, everyone wants to work with National Geographic, but I was like, I want to travel and meet all these different people and do all kinds of fun stuff. And I realized that my pool was towards the visual arts, and I said, okay, well, what can I do with that? I also liked psychology, so I knew I wanted to minor in psychology because I wanted to always have that element of education in my pocket. But I said, you know what, I think I want to get into the arts, and I told my dad that, and he said, you know, you really can't make a living on art. My dad's an entrepreneur and has owned restaurants and is a real estate developer, and he's back in Maryland. And I was like, Dad, I really think I can. I think that I have enough of that entrepreneurial spirit that I can make a living in the arts. And he said, well, as long as you study the arts, you also need to study business. So College of Charleston conveniently has this wonderful arts management program that they tailor towards what your wants and needs are. So I had some great professors that led me along the way, and I ended up getting an internship with a gallery that taught me the ins and outs of the gallery world. And then I studied abroad and studied more art. So I did all kinds of stuff, but I was always involved in the arts somehow.
Let's talk about the 3 a.m. panic. Woke up.
Okay.
What got you there when it comes to your life?
When I left the gallery that I was working for many years, and that was a comfortable, beautiful experience, I knew that I needed to take a leap of faith. And I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew I had to do it. So I left there and I started Canvas Charleston, this art consulting agency. And because of the people that I've known from around town that work in the art industry, I was able to stay pretty busy, but I wasn't able to really pay the bills. So, and that, you know, is a very important thing. So I said, okay, what can I do that is within my comfort zone, but also a little bit outside of my comfort zone? And I thought about this for weeks and weeks, and maybe months probably. And I woke up in the middle of the night. Well, I was kind of just lying in bed. I wasn't really sleeping, and I was just thinking, what can I do that will satisfy my heart's desires as well as be something I can expand on? And opening up a gallery was the one thing that I kept coming back to. So I woke up in the middle of the night, or got out of bed, and I went into the living room, and I started jotting down all these ideas. And I knew what type of art I wanted. I knew what type of artwork that Charleston has and what it didn't have, and what would add to the complex, you know, art scene we have here. And yeah, I came up with a business plan, emailed it to my fiance and my dad, and they were like, actually, this is pretty good. I think you should try it. So here I am.
Hey, you talk about Charleston and the art scene. What is the state of the arts in Charleston right now?
We currently have about 55 galleries, and those galleries kind of expanded to the Mount Pleasant and West Ashley areas as well. But we have about 55 galleries. There are, I would say, probably 10 contemporary galleries within that area. And we have 4 art walks a year that are sponsored by the Charleston Gallery Association. We have monthly First Friday art walks. There's tons of events that go on. We have beautiful museums here. So we are a very culturally rich city, and the arts are a huge component of that.
Yeah. Let me get back to Miller Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
Which art describes you?
Ooh. You know, I can't choose one of my artists,
Okay.
because that would be
Right.
saying something I probably shouldn't say as a business owner. But I would say anything that is, any artwork that has a lot of color, because I am very much stimulated by color. Anything that has a lot of texture. I love collage, mixed media, assemblage work.
Wow.
So maybe if you were to take a little bit of every artist that I represent and then turn it into one piece,
Yes.
then that would probably be a representation of what would be my favorite or my personality. I don't know, I like things that make you think. And I think that there are a lot of layers to my personality, and there are a lot of layers to what I'm striving to do and where I want to be 10 years from now. So something where you can kind of peel back the layers and say, oh, would be the artwork that would describe me.
You talk about 10 years from now. If I had, like, say, a drawing board right here, how would you draw your future?
Ooh, there would be lots of branches, for sure. I do not want to ever feel like I'm stuck in one place. And I love trying new things. I love traveling. So one of my goals, and I have so many, 10 years from now seems so far away, but 10 years have gone so quickly.
Right.
I mean, I was here 10 years ago in college. I would love to continue with the idea of going to international art fairs. I went to my first art fair. Are you familiar with an art fair?
Somewhat.
So it's sort of like a convention, more or less, but numerous galleries from across the world or across the country, wherever it may be, they get together and they each have their own booth. And then visitors, whether it's art collectors or just those that want to immerse themselves in the arts and understand art a little bit better, they come and they can either purchase artwork or just have a conversation with an artist or a gallery owner or whatnot. But it's a watering hole for people that have one passion, and that is a passion that kind of spans all different directions. But yeah, art is the main focus. So I would like to do a little bit more traveling and introduce the artists that I represent to outside markets. I write for Art Mag, and I really enjoy writing about cultural events.
Yes.
So I want to continue doing that. And I would maybe like to, I actually just was hired to do the new Port Authority building at the Wando Terminal.
Right.
They have a massive 80,000 square foot building, and they asked me to consult and advise on which pieces of artwork to have in this new building.
Yes.
I love this project. It has been such a joy. I've been able to work with 15 different artists, not just from my gallery, from all across Charleston and the region, and help guide them in a direction that will be a perfect fit for what they're looking for, what they want to convey to those that go to the Wando Terminal. And the port brings in like billions of dollars of
Right.
business to the Low Country. So it's a big project, but I love doing that type of consulting work, being able to embrace the community.
And you talk about the community. When you look at Charleston and the arts 5 to 10 years from now, what do you see?
I would like to see I would like for Spoleto to have a visual arts component more so than they do now, because I feel like it is performing arts mainly, and musical, theater, dance, and I love that. I think that's a wonderful addition to the Charleston art scene, and it's something that people welcome every single year. But it would be nice to highlight the Charleston fine arts scene as well. So whether that's Spoleto taking on that task or someone individually taking on a task and creating their own festival to bring people to Charleston to look at the fine art. Because we have a lot of visitors that come in and out of our galleries that are here to look at the architecture, to go on tours, to learn about the history, and to eat all of the amazing food and the drinks that we have here. But they're surprised by how much fine art we have in Charleston, and I think that shouldn't be a surprise. I would love for Charleston to be seen as a New York or Santa Fe or even in Miami, and people come here knowing that they're going to be able to walk into dozens of galleries within blocks of each other and have great conversations with working artists and just get to see what flavor. I mean, I think maybe people think of Charleston as a very traditional place, and yes, we have a lot of traditional elements here, and historical architecture and whatnot. But there's this vibrant, lively, young, youthful side of Charleston too, and we're always changing and growing. So yeah, I would love for people to recognize that before they even step foot on the peninsula.
Cool, awesome. That's so great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah Miller, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.